I think, yes, I can see it. Great. Good morning, everybody. I'm Lucrezia. I'm a legal consultant in Corbers, one of the supporting partners in Teresa PCP, and thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to walk you through some key concepts that are essential for understanding pre-commercial procurement. First, we will look at what public procurement actually is and why it needs to be regulated. Then, we will briefly examine where it is regulated. After that, we will move to the topic of innovation procurement and the concept of technology readiness level, or TRL. And finally, we will explore pre-commercial procurement, known as PCP, and the specific legal framework that governs it. But let's begin with what is public procurement and why is it regulated? Public procurement refers to the process through which public authorities, such as national ministries, regional governments, or local municipalities, purchase works, goods, or services from companies selected for this purpose. Public procurement is regulated for very important reasons, because it involves the use of public funds, so the process must be transparent, fair, and accountable. Regulation ensures that decisions are based on an objective and serious assessment. And the EU aims to ensure that public money is spent in an efficient way, responsibly, and in a way that delivers the best value for citizens. Where is it regulated? At the core, as we can see from the slide, we have the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. The TFEU lays down 4 fundamental principles that shape all procurement procedures. We have transparency, equal treatment, non-discrimination, and proportionality. The first one is transparency. This means that public authorities, for example, must publish notices about the contract, ensuring that all potential interested suppliers are aware of the opportunity. Then we have equal treatment. Contracting authorities must apply the same rules to all bidders. So, for example, they cannot change the requirements once proposals have been submitted. Then we have non-discrimination. So competition must be open to all European suppliers, can be an example. And finally, proportionality. Any requirements imposed on suppliers must be reasonable and justified. For example, exclusions must be based on objective reasons and not on arbitrary or onerous conditions. Then we have the European Directive. So building on those treaty principles, the European Union has adopted a series of directives that provide detailed rules for different procurement sectors. We have the Directive number 24 of 2014, which covers procurement by public sector institutions. Then we have Directive 25 of 2014, which applies to utilities, such as water, energy, and transport. For concession, we have Directive 23 of 2014. Then there is also Directive 81 of 2009 dedicated to defense and security procurement. And finally, the Remedies Directive number 66 of 2007. This concludes a general overview of the current European Union legal framework applicable to the principal public procurement scenario. But let's move to innovation, procurement, and TRL, our focus of today, and how it operates across the different stages of technology development. Innovation procurement occurs when public buyers do not purchase existing solutions, but instead support the development or the deployment of pioneering innovations. The image that we can see in this slide provides just a simplified overview of the entire innovation pathway, from early curiosity-driven research to the deployment of commercial solutions, represented through the progression from TRL 1 to TRL 9. TRL stands for Technology Readiness Level, and in the next slide, we will look at those technology readiness level in more detail as they form the structure for understanding the different innovation procurement approaches. But we can see that curiosity-driven activities typically lie around TRL 2 or 3, while pre-commercial procurement usually begins around TRL 4 or 5 and extends up to TRL 8. Pre-commercial procurement covers the phases shown on the left side of this image, of this graphic. And we have solution design, prototype development, and testing of first products. Multiple suppliers are typically involved in parallel, and after each phase, only those offering the most promising results move forward. This approach allows public buyers to compare different technological approaches, reduce the risk associated with innovation, and stimulate competition. We have the PPI approach on the right side of the image, that is public procurement of innovative solution. And it covers situations in which solutions have reached a higher readiness level, typically TRL 8, 9, and are market ready. In this approach, the public authority procures the deployment of those newly developed products or services. So it focuses on enabling the uptake and wider diffusion of innovative solution. But let's move to the technology readiness level, which provides an overview of the commonly known as TRLs that give a structured way to assess how mature a technology is, from the very first idea all the way to a fully operational system. As we can see, TRL 1 corresponds to a basic concept being observed for the very first time. TRL 2, those concepts are formulated into technology concept. TRL 3 marks the experimental proof of concept. TRL 4 indicates the technology has been validated in a laboratory environment, so we are still far from real-world use. TRL 5 is validation in a relevant environment, while TRL 6 is demonstration in that relevant environment. At TRL 7, we see a system prototype demonstrated in an operational environment. TRL 8 represents a complete and qualified system. TRL 9 finally shows the actual system has been proven in an operational environment. So this is the highest level of maturity of a technology. So essentially, the technology is ready for real-world deployment. From this slide, we can see how different technology readiness levels connect directly to the corresponding procurement approaches. So the diagram also shows how pre-commercial procurement aligns with the mid-range TRLs, while public procurement of innovative solution applies to technologies that are higher end of this scale. So overall, this visual makes clear how TRL help public buyer understand the maturity of a technology and choose the most appropriate procurement approach. Considering that pre-commercial procurement align with the mid-range TRL, PCP is a public procurement of research and development services. So it is characterized by three essential features. First, the development is competitive and carried out in phases. We have three phases. As shown in this slide, multiple contractors begin in phase 1 and only the best performers move on to the following stages. Second, PCP involves a risk-benefit sharing mechanism under market condition. So both the public buyer and the contractors share risks and potential future benefit. This means that the public procurer does not pay the full cost of R&D carried out under the contract, and the public buyer so receives a price reduction, we may say, on the IPR arising from the PCP. Then there is a clear separation between the procurement of R&D services and the later deployment of commercial volumes of end products. In other words, PCP focuses on R&D, and any purchase of commercial solution happens separately outside the PCP process. So as the slide shows, the PCP is organized into three sequential phases, and each phase has a clearly defined duration, a maximum budget per contractor, and an indicated number of participating suppliers. And as indicated in the image, the Teresa PCP project expects to reach a prototype level by the end of the process, aligned with the higher TRL shown for phase 3. So this means that the PCP is designed to mature the technologies to a point where they are demonstrated and validated, but not yet purchased in commercial quantities. By the final phase, we expect to have validated prototypes, reaching the targeted TRL, ready for potential future deployment through other procurement approaches. Finally, the final slide that summarizes the legal framework that applies to pre-commercial procurement. The key point here is that PCP falls outside the scope of the European Public Procurement Directives. This exclusion, as we can see from the slide, is explicitly stated in Article 14 of Directive 24 of 2014. Since PCP does not satisfy the two cumulative conditions because its benefits are not restricted to the public buyer alone and the R&D is not fully remunerated by the authority, PCP remains outside the directives, outside the scope of the directive. Even though the directives do not apply, the general principle of the TFEU still do, the one that we mentioned before at the beginning of this presentation. So this means that transparency, equal treatment, non-discrimination, and proportionality must be respected throughout the entire PCP process. And the European Commission has also provided key guidance documents that shape the legal framework for PCP. These include the 2007 communication pre-commercial procurement, driving innovation to ensure sustainable, high-quality public services in Europe, and the 2022 framework for state ID for research, development, and innovation. This concludes my part of the presentation, and should you have any question, me and my colleague Beatrice from Corberts will be more than happy to address them during the Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lucrezia, for your presentation. We are now handing the floor to Anna Fuster from the University Hospital of Vic, who is going to talk us about the overview of the open market consultation structure and events. Anna, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. I'm Anna Fuster, the Sustainability Manager from Consorcio Hospitalari de Vic. We are one of the buyers from this project, and we have different hospitals in Catalonia, and the one which is participating is the University Hospital from Vic. I'm going to explain you a little bit the overview of the open market consultation, the aim, and who can participate, and some of the mechanisms of engagement. Basically, the open market consultation aims to raise awareness among industry stakeholders and potential research and development providers about the forthcoming tender, validate and refine the technical and financial specifications that we have been defining with the buyers group, collect insights from the market to ensure the tender aligns with cutting-edge, feasible, and sustainable technology solutions, and inform the market about the PCP opportunities and process, encourage possible suppliers to participate, and facilitate the matchmaking among suppliers. Next slide, please. So who can join? Mostly all organizations with interest in the wastewater treatment, environmental technology, digital monitoring, automation, sensing, or hospital infrastructure sectors. This includes, but is not limited to technology providers, whether SMEs, large industry, or startups, research institutions and universities, environmental and water sector organizations, also hospitals, utilities, and wastewater authorities, or intermediaries supporting innovation procurement. So everybody is invited in this open market consultation. Next slide, please. So, what does the open market consultation offer for suppliers? To know needs and priorities from the Teresa procurers, obtain information about the future PCP, make the entity known to the procurers and potential collaborators, and influencing the preparation of the coming tender. And for the procurers, a cross-check and clarify the assumptions for the call for tenders, obtain new information from the market, that's crucial, and make potentially interested buyers aware. Next, please. Yes, next slide. Now, so today is the first event here in Spain, but there are going to be some more events in Estonia, Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and finally a wrap-up event on the 26th of February. And each of these events is going to focus in one topic, and all of them will be recorded and uploaded in the website. So it's going to be public for everybody. There's a matchmaking tool. There are going to be pitches in every session, like today. After this presentation, there are going to be 3 or 4 pitches. There's a bilateral meeting too. And the most important, a questionnaire that can be submitted till the 24th of February. So these are some of the mechanisms for engagement of the project. Next slide, please. I'm not sure who's...
Sorry, it has some delay in appearing there. I don't know why.
Okay. Finally, just some more technical or regulatory issues, I think. Yes, here. Just the confidentiality clause, which means that the contracting authority may not disclose any technical or commercial information that may have been provided by the participants, which they have designated and reasoned as confidential. That means that the suppliers must identify the documentation or the technical or commercial information that they consider to be confidential. And it is not permissible for them to make a generic declaration or declare that all the documents or all information is confidential. So participants may designate some of the documents submitted as confidential. And the final regulatory clause hopefully is available. Next slide. It is a non-binding consultation, which means that the open market consultation does not constitute a condition for participation in any subsequent procurement procedure and shall not result in any advantage, preferential treatment, or prejudice in the context of any future tender or contract award. And that would be all from my side.